Hello, and how are you today? I hope you're doing wonderfully. I am doing particularly wonderfully today. Why? I'll tell you why. I got a lot of stuff that I've been trying to get done. Oh, I am so happy to have all that. I'm a note taker, and I take little notes on papers, things I want to say, things. And I had all these papers with notes, and today they've been sorted, they've been put in the right places, and I feel so good about that. Along with the fact it was a sunny day today, and it was in the 50s, and we're supposed to have that for a few more days, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I hope you had a good day, and you're happy about that. And I've got a lot of other things to share that I hope are going to make our day even better. Alrighty. Today I always separate the the National Day calendar and whatever the message is for the day. Well, today it's going to be a little different because it all kind of mushes up together, which you'll see in a minute. I don't know if this is for you, but for me right now it seems kind of dark. I'm just going to put on another light, if you can bear with me for a second. I don't know if that helped. Yeah, that helped for me. I don't know if it helped for you, but it's good for me. Okay, so for those of you who might not know me, my name is Reverend Alicia Leslie. I am a minister with Unity, Spirit of Unity Church. I'm basically about trying to help folks to live a great life by practicing spiritual principles in an everyday way. That's why I call myself the Mundane Mystic. If you like what you see here, you can go to Alicia Leslie, Mundane Mystic on YouTube, and you can find all kinds of things I've posted. Worship services they're pretty old, but because I don't do that much anymore. But there's all kinds of topics, and I really started doing daily-ish videos when the pandemic shutdown started, and so there's lots of good stuff in there. So go to YouTube, go to Alicia Leslie Mundane, which means everyday, Mystic, which means spiritual person, spiritual perspective. So my everyday life is practicing spiritual principles. So guess what? Whether you are practicing them or you're not practicing them, they're working anyway. So you can either work in harmony with the principles and have things turn out better, or not be in harmony and kind of not have the best day. So as we start out, our topic today is to do or not to do. That is the question. Did you ever wonder, is that mine to do or is that somebody else's to do? Well, you can figure it out, and hopefully today I'll give you some tips on that. And sometimes it's just not a matter of to do or not to do. It's a matter of what to do. If I decide I'm going to do something, what am I going to do? So today's National Day calendar, it is Inventor's Day. And inventors are so amazing because there's really only one way you can be an inventor. And that's by looking outside of the box. To find the answers we want, it's always best to look outside the box, not inside but stay stuck inside the box, because the problems are inside the box and the solutions are outside the box. And if we learn to practice that, and remember, we don't call problems, we call them projects, because we're working on them. All right, now, so I want to tell you a couple stories about the inventor in me. You know there's an inventor in you, don't you? There is. I'm sure you use it all the time as you figure out how to handle things you get into. And if you can't, then I suggest you try to learn to. Because today is about to do or not to do. And there's times and reasons to do and times and reasons not to do. When I was little, my brother was born, no, it wasn't my brother. My sister was born when I was 15 years old. And she had like a rocking horse. My little sister was a very spirited person, and she would put her hands on the little handles that stick out of the rocking horse's head, and she would rock and rock and rock like she was going to try to go somewhere on that horse. And I looked at her and I said, I watched her doing it, and I thought to myself, you know, if they took and they put, you know, like springs under the little rocking horse's legs, as a child bounced up and down, they could move the horse. Well, it was a number of years later that out came Marvel the Mustang. And I didn't do it. I never gave myself credit for the thought that I could do it. But when you hear the song, let's see, Marvel the Mustang, he's almost like real. Oh yeah, that was my idea. I don't know that Marvel's around anymore. Maybe kids got hurt, you know, riding downstairs or something. I don't know. But it was to me, it was a great idea, rightly used. Like everything else, rightly used. A lot of people made money on it. I think it was Hasbro or Mattel or somebody. All right, so another great idea I had that nothing happened with was I used to be a district sales manager for Avon. And for those of you who have bought products, whether it's in a catalog or from the Avon lady coming if she didn't have the sample what you wanted to try. I feel sad because today our current culture, excuse me, I don't think people feel safe going to their neighbors' homes anymore, and that makes my heart ache. We're gonna do a heartache thing another day, not today. But I don't think people feel so safe. But anyway, in those days, I would teach my representatives to go out and to show them how to use the color chart and everything. But it really bothered me because the colors on the color chart were on white paper. Well, not everybody's got white skin, and nobody's got that white of skin unless they're an albino. And so I got this idea that the colors on the color chart should be put on clear plastic. So if you wanted to know what a color would look like, you'd put your hand underneath the plastic and look at the color on top of it. Or hold it up by your face for eyeshadow or stuff like that. I thought that was a great idea. I never did anything with it. I kind of started to make an image of what that would look like. And the other one was when people would buy necklaces, if they had a big neck or with bracelets, if they had a big wrist, or very often if you're a small person, like I'm a little person, I have a hard time because bracelets fall off of me. But if you had a little extender chain, now you understand, back in those days, in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, they did not have that stuff. So I actually submitted a suggestion. Why don't you add a little, make extensions available for your bracelets? And they said, no, that wasn't a very good idea. A couple years later, guess what? Extensions for your bracelets. Go figure. They kept telling us to submit ideas. If you're going to submit an idea, think about it before you say no, right? Okay. And the next one was another one I didn't do anything about. I am a vegetarian. And I get really weary of people saying, oh, do you want a salad? You know, I'll let you come over to my house for lunch. You can graze on my lawn. Yes, they did say that. And so I said, you know, the reason, and this is what I believe, the reason that more people don't change their diet, whether that's to vegetarian or vegan or whatever changes they want to make in their diet, a lot of times they don't make the changes because they don't know. They don't know how. They don't know what it's about. And getting a recipe book is flipping overwhelming. It's like, oh, I can't handle this. So I had this great idea for this thing called a vegetarian menu master. And it taught you little things about foods and making food combinations that make complete proteins. And it was awesome. And one day, my job at the time, I was working for American Airlines. And believe it or not, I got on the phone one of the people, the executives from Vegetarian Times magazine. I did. And I wrote down his information, and I figured I'm going to call him and tell him about my vegetarian menu master and see what he has to say. And I never did. Why? I don't know. I was afraid. I was overwhelmed. I didn't have confidence in myself. Another thing, those are 3 times of to do or not to do, and I should have done and I didn't do. So think on that. And so those were my errors. Now here's another thing. I did write a cookbook over 50 years ago for my friend. I was pregnant with twins, and I seriously could not move. I was, I weighed 85 pounds when I got pregnant. The day the boys were delivered, I weighed 117 before they were delivered. Yeah, I'm way over that now. Anyway, I could not pick up a piece of paper off the floor without, I couldn't get up. I couldn't lay down all the way in bed because of my shape. And so, we were broke. We had a little one at the time. Sean was 15 months old when the twins were born. So times were tough financially. And my best friend's wedding was coming up. And I'm like, what am I going to give her? We really can't afford a worthy gift. And so I think I told you this. I'm sure I told you this before. So I went to the store and I saw a package of gravy mix and almost lost my mind. Because what, gravy? You put flour in the drippings of the meat you were cooking and stir in some liquid and you got gravy. Duh. Anyway, so I wrote the cookbook. And that's where it basically stayed. I gave it to her and she loved it. And I have the copy. I'd love to show you the papers. They're 55 years old. They're crispy and fading. But I'm rewriting it as a satire. But it's one of those things, to do or not to do. It's time, especially at my age, to get out, do it or get off the pot, as my mother would say. To do. This is a time to do. So we have to learn with the to-dos and not to-dos. One of the reasons we don't do what we need to do is that we don't know what we're doing. So we need to, and now I know a lot more about writing, so that's out of the way. I have to have confidence because lots of folks tell me I'm a great writer, and I have to just get it together. I'm writing it now as a satire because, oh my stars, back in those days, that was fetch his pipe and slippers and gives his feet. Okay, not going there today. But it's what is it? Think about it for a minute. What did you want to do that you were afraid to do, or that you never got around to it? When I was in church ministry, I would cut out these round things, and it would say TUIT on it. And so when I did a a message like this, I would hand them out to the congregation and say, now you can get around to it. You got around to it. So get what you're meaning to get done. So those are the things and for you, what about you? Were you going to write a song, Lynn? Were you going to write a book? Were you going to paint a picture? Were you going to have a different kind of career? Don't quit your job tomorrow, but look into how you could do that. You see, when I look at my blessing, what I want to do in life is to share the gift that I have of consciousness and metaphysics and how to have a great life. I want to share that with you because it blessed me, and I just got to share it with you. But you know what? It was the same thing when I was an Avon District sales manager. I wanted my representatives to be successful. When I worked in a convalescent home as the recreation director, boy, did we have fun. I wanted them to be happy. That's a good thing. It's being a participant in the law of circulation. I probably could not do your gifts if I tried. And you may not be able to do my gifts, or maybe you can in your own way. Sorry, I have probably a cat hair in my eye. Oh, God, I remember looking at my grandmother's glasses when I was a kid and thinking, how can she see through those things? Well, now I'm her. Okay, let's see. Let's get back to that. So those are a number of things that, whatever it is, think of it. What is it that you haven't done, that you always said you wanted to do? Jump out of a plane? Not happening not with me. Bungee? Not happening with me. Ski? Not happening with me, but you can do it. Go and find your passion. I used to say that, people say to me, God, where do you get all that energy? Where do I get it? It's passion. If you stir up the spirit within you, the enthusiasm, the word enthusiastic means spirited. So stir up that enthusiasm within you to do what you really want to do. Okay, there's another very important day today, and you can do it every day. You don't have to have it just be today. Today is Make a Friend Day. And, okay, hang on a minute. Okay, you want to reach others. We talked about it the other day, about the divisive nature of not only our country, but the human family at this time. It's like a mega divorce. And we need to come back together. And we come back together by looking at what we have in common. So I did not make a friend today. I was home all day. If someone is watching this for the first time, I invite you to friend me on Facebook and just say, hi, I saw your video. Great, we can be friends. After the 9/11, one of the first things I did is I went online and I found pen pal sites. And I tried to make as many international pen pals as I could. And I had pen pals in England, in Hong Kong, in Russia, in Switzerland, or some part in Scandinavia. And, that was 20 years ago. And so a lot of them have fallen off. But in that moment, I knew it was to connect with others was important. And so I do invite you to find a way to make a friend. And then there used to be a song, you'll probably notice this, songs and movies are very big in my head. But there used to be a song we sang that I can't remember, but it goes something like, it goes something like, love grows one by one, two by two, da da da, and until we're all one, because we're supposed to be one. And so think about how that is how love grows. And don't look at your differences. Look at what you have to share. And if someone is steering a conversation in a direction you want to go, say, I really don't want to go in that direction. I want to talk about how we're alike. Yeah, what did you want to be when you grew up? Take it into a place where we can establish roots with other people. So Make a Friend Day is very important for our time. Now, another day that it is today, let's go back to the friendship thing, because this was so funny. I posted this today, and I know that, I'm always singing things, and you're probably going, but I posted this little piece, and it said, when you are having a hard time, I will hug you and sing to you. It said to my BF, my best friend, when you are hurting or having a hard time, I will hug you and sing to you. And then after that it said, and you can decide what's worse. We have to be able to laugh at ourselves. Okay. And this one is a real hoot. This is Don't Cry Over Spilled Milk Day. A lot of people ruin their whole day when one thing goes wrong. Yeah, and let's not talk about the big horrible somebody died or anything like that. General things. You oversleep. You have a spat with your mate. Okay, I got one. Tishy is elderly. And as you know, she's gone blind and she's doing her best to deal with that. I think she's still got some of her hearing left, but she's from time to time getting a little incontinent. And a part of that might have been from what happened the other day, is that she's still uneasy jumping off the bed. So she probably woke up and had the urge and was afraid to get off the bed. She got off the bed, thank goodness, but she did poop on the rug a little bit on her way to the litter box. And guess who got up first thing in the morning, bare feet, stepped right in that literal poop. And it was like, oh God! Now, some people would do that and yell at the cat and blame the cat or the dog or whichever one of their critters did it, or just be in a crabby butt mood for hours. I went in the bathroom, I washed and sanitized my foot, I got the disinfectant and the rug cleaner, I went out and did what I had to do, and went back, went back to bed. Well, actually, I gave her a little food, because, out, in. And, but we don't waste your day being ticked off about a little thing. And I'm going to tell you the moment. Remember we talked before about a paradigm shift? And thank you for your prayers. I thank you, Cheryl, and everyone else who's praying with me for Tish. So you have that paradigm shift when you get it, that aha moment. So when I went to cooking school from the time I was in 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grades. And so like 15, 16, 17, and 18. And one day I was making hollandaise sauce. And hollandaise sauce is a little tricky to make. And what you have to do is you have to have egg yolks and lemon juice and butter. And you have to keep the butter not too hot. And when the butter's hot, you whisk in the eggs and lemon juice. But there's a few tricks. Number one, if the butter gets too hot, you put those egg yolks in there, they're going to curdle immediately. You put the lemon in the wrong order, it's going to curdle immediately. If you are stirring clockwise and then you turn to counterclockwise, it's going to break. It curdles on each one of those. Well, this one day we were having asparagus hollandaise, and I was trying to make hollandaise sauce. And I broke 3 batches. Well, I started my 4th batch. It was beautiful. It was creamy, and hollandaise sauce is buttery and with a little tang from the lemon juice. And I dropped it on the floor. This was in the kitchen at school. And I dropped it. First I was ticked off. This was my 4th batch. And I dropped it, and you wanted to get in a really hissy fit for a while anyway, just let burn. No, my mind said, clean it up and make your next batch. Just stop it right now. Just clean it up and move on. And that's what I did. And from that day on, I try to remind myself that when you have that kind of experience, to move on. Just don't keep whining about it. Just move on. And it does make a big difference, because if you're looking at your day as a pie chart, so instead of having this whole day be, let's say, black, you have this little black piece, and the rest of it is all bright and sunny and yellow and pink and everything wonderful. It's up to you. So don't cry over spilled milk. You have a bad day, whatever. Okay. Now, it's another day that I can't do anything about at this time. But for those of you who have relatives who are shut-ins, it is National Shut-In Visitation Day. Were it not for COVID, people would feel more comfortable to freely move about, and I'm just not there yet, so I won't be doing that. So if you have a friend or relative who is confined, please go see them. Excuse me. And or give them a phone call. You can do something. Speaking of phone calls, today is one of my grandson's 15th birthday. And I talked to him, I might have told you this, I talked to him, I think it was after Christmas, and I almost fell out because he no longer has a little boy voice. He's got a big boy voice. I was shocked. And his father says to me the other day, he goes, he's at this age where he doesn't want to have anything. He doesn't want to go where we go. He doesn't want to do what we do. He doesn't want to come out and hang out with us. He just wants to stay in his room all the time and play games. Welcome to my world. That's what happens. With my kids, my boys were 14 years and 9 months, and they flipped. With my daughter, it was 13 years and 9 months when she flipped. I don't know, it just happens. Okay, now, so we got some little tips about the highs and hows and whys, and then we have to say, okay, when do I move and when do I not move? When do I do and when do I wait? Well, the truth of the matter is, it's sometimes right to pray and then move your feet. And then after we move our feet, we pray again. And I have a little Post-it. I am the queen of Post-its, in case you didn't know that. I am the queen of Post-its. And I have a Post-it that I picked it up from a book. I think it was called The Magic. And it said, do what is yours to do. Then sit back and let the magic happen. So when you've done everything that you need to do for your dream, for your desire, for your future, then let go and let God. Then sit back and allow the magic to happen. That doesn't mean you do anything. You keep seeing it right, just seeing it turn out the way it is. You know, I'm doing that very much in the case of the chaos in our world today. Those of you who know me can recite it with me. My two mantras are scriptures, and one of them is God speaking, saying, "Not by might, nor by power, by my Spirit, saith the Lord." And I remember that I can't focus so much on the scary stuff, because if I spend too much time focusing on that scary stuff, the good stuff will not manifest. I will manifest more icky stuff. So we want to learn to focus on the good stuff that we want to manifest. And the other one has very much to do with today's do or not to do. For this I was born. For this I have come into the world. And whatever you're dealing with, my friends, for this you were born. And for this you have come into the world. And you have a mission. I invite you, if you don't know what it is yet, to pray about it, think about it. And I think I'm ready to do a class. Maybe I'll do an online class on the path, which is about defining your mission and vision and values and your core beliefs. Very cool, very cool. Okay, and again, when you ask yourself about what you want, if it's a this or that, should I do this or should I do that? If you take some time to get grounded, remember yesterday we talked about letting go of your monkey mind? If you take some time to get grounded, clear your mind, and then say, A, or should I do this? Or should I do this? Pretty usually one choice will give you a sense of peace. The other will give you a sense of urgency. Always go with the sense of peace. You have the power. You have the power to make the decision and take the action. Hang on one second. Okay, oh my goodness. Have I been talking that long? I'm sorry. Apparently I went way over time, so forgive me on that. Think about this. These are things to think about, to do or not to do. And I would like to just do my quick little mad world thing for today. Not everything is still mad, although I still can't figure out why people do it. Back in the 1950s, I saw this in a little photo journal thing today. Back in the 1950s, you could buy cigarettes as a patient in the hospital. They'd bring like the candy cart around to see what you want, and there would be cigarettes on it. And you were allowed to smoke in your hospital room. I think anybody, the first time they tried smoking and coughed a lot, that probably was the first clue that this was not a good thing to do. And I can't figure out why people still do it. If you smoke, God bless you. I hope you have a long and healthy life. So that's it for today. I apologize for running over. And it's Friday, so you may not be hearing from me. I don't know. I just may get inspired and talk over the weekend. We shall see. But in the meantime, have a bright, beautiful, better than average day, and know that God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.